Well, hello, everybody. This is Scott Paladin for the People. On behalf of Louisiana News and eMediaGC.com, we're very privileged today to bring you a special report. This is a report that we found was overlooked in the past, not understood, and is an ongoing scenario in your life. Today we have a gentleman, Brother Ron Johnson, and I'd like to say hello, Ron.
Hello, Scott. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Ron, if you would be kind enough to share with them some of your background and expertise, I think that our listening audience needs to know who you are.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a graduate of the University of California at Berkeley. My major was business. I have a master's degree. I'm also a structural engineer. I'm certified by the United States government, especially considered OMSET, of the National Oil Spill Response Facility, and also Minerals Management, which is now, OMSET is now under the auspice of the Stewardship of Homeland Security. I am able to contain and remove oil from any marine oil spill. I have been recorded to remove 100% of any marine oil spill, and it's been in existence for over 14 years, since 1997.
Mr. Johnson, when you say 100%, what does that really mean? 100%
was recovered and contained. It means that if there's an oil spill, and this has gone on since 1997, that the oil can be contained in the point of origin and will guarantee that it will not reach the shoreline. This was tested by the National Oil Spill Testing Facility in Leonardo, New Jersey, called OMSET. And at the time, it was controlled by Minerals Management. Stewardship was the Minerals Management Department of the United States government. Now, that's where I received the title of being an expert in the field. Now, I'm the only one who's ever done this, so yes, I am the only expert in the field of oil retrieval and recovery. Everybody else is in the field of...
Johnson, are you telling me that the government certifies you?
Yes, I'm certified.
And they know who you are?
Yes, they know who I am. In fact, we were at a conference together. All the companies know of me at some point because I've contacted all of them, and the government, OMSET had put me into their video, their photo video of oil recovery systems, things of that nature. Yes, I'm known very well in the industry.
Well, let me ask you this question. Did British Petroleum Oil know about you after the oil spill?
Not only after the oil spill, but prior to the oil spill, I met with BP's office on 4 different occasions and got the same response, basically. See, BP's had 4 spills in the United States that were big. One in Texas, which was a busted pipeline, which I tried to be a part of. The one in which was Beaumont, Texas. Then there's one in Newtown Creek, New Jersey, where they and the consortium of the oil companies have an oil leak that's been going on for, I guess you'd say, 30 years now. And it's been leaking into this creek, causing all kinds of problems. And then another busted pipeline during the Katrina era. And then also now this one, which was in the Gulf, but under no circumstances would they utilize it.
Previously, you said that your system worked 100%. When you worked with BP, when they had these other spills and the Gulf Coast oil spill, why did your system not work?
Well, no. See, you made the statement of previously I worked with them. They've known of me. They will not let me work with them because I changed the game. And the game is oil recovery as well as oil. I mean, oil recovery is big business. What you would consider new kid on the block. And no one can do what I can do, which is recover 100%. The highest level that's ever been recovered in any oil spill has been roughly 12%. And that's as far as containment. Recovery is a whole different story. They don't retrieve any of it. If you look at the BP oil spill from the Gulf, see what the numbers are, the oil that was actually recovered. See how much oil is still left between the sea floor and the surface that they will not. They just told you about some new oil that popped up on the coast of Florida that they said it was a couple of tons of oil that they have to go and remove the sand. But they tell a lie.
If I am hearing you correctly, and audience, I want to make sure you pay attention to this. You're telling me that you're certified by the government. You have a process that would work. You have a process that would save a lot of damage to the environment, plus actually help these companies recover their oils lose as much money. And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're telling me that they won't work with you, or they didn't.
No, they won't. They will not work with me. For reasons being, number one, as I stated before, I changed the game. A lot of the oil companies also have their own personal cleanup crews that they work with. So therefore, you're going to find conflict of interest in trying to work with me. It's not about cleaning up the oil or containing the oil. It's creating more of a environmental disaster so you can say what you want to say.
Well, I appreciate that because I wanted to be very clear on that because I'm looking at all the damage that was done to the Gulf Coast. I'm in Louisiana, so more especially Louisiana and how it impacted directly and indirectly the people of Louisiana.
Well, one of the things you got to keep in mind, Scott, if you don't mind me interrupting you on that, that key point that you're saying about what's happening with the people of Louisiana, what happens in this environment right now that we're in, and I have to call it an environment because it's a staged situation. It shows that they're doing everything that they can and they're fighting BP. And in reverse, BP is running the situation. And the people of, say, the state of Louisiana or Florida or anyone that was impacted by this situation, their remedy had came in effect where the government was suing. Who are they suing? BP. Who gets the money? The government. The people are now fighting things that have gone on where the government, BP has gone back to the government and stated that they feel that there's fraud going on after they've done everything in their power to lie, to show bad faith, and discredit people and discredit the way the oil spill actually did. If you remember, they stated that there was only 5,000 gallons spilling out per hour, per day, pretty much. That's what they were saying. Then it jumped to 25,000. Then it went to 100,000 gallons, and that was over a 72-hour period. But they had it under control. There was nothing that could be done. I brought in the same device that they knew of 9 years ago. I called Onset and I had this big argument with them about what was going on. I talked with the director of minerals management at the time, and I'd like to say because of my actions and the things that happened with Senator Barbara Boxer, that's why minerals management is no longer in control, because there were a lot of mishaps, the dealings that they knew about. When BP and Onset went on national television and told the President of the United States that they tried everything in their arsenal, and I'm at the top of the arsenal, and I'm the only thing that will work that says 100%, but you will not use me and you will not go to bat for me. What are you saying? And this is 9 years old.
You're scaring me again. And the reason I say scaring me because I'm a paladin. I'm supposed to stand up for what's right. I'm supposed to stand up and help the people fight for justice. And you're telling me that our government is not willing to participate in something that will benefit the people?
Well, that's exactly what's happening. See, one of the things that really made me extremely upset about the situation is 3 weeks prior to that, I had just been in San Francisco dealing with a tugboat that was underwater, and I had offered my services to the Coast Guard for free. And I told them, okay, let me remove it so they can see me. You know, because being the new kid on the block, if you don't have the accreditation that they want to give you, not the accreditation that the government gave you, then you will not get in the door. It's that fraternity that is an unbreakable fraternity, and what happens in that situation, regardless of how good or how great the system is, you know, and you can't find nothing wrong with it, not going to use it, that's turning, as you would call it, a blind eye. Now, if I offered you, say you spilled a cup of coffee, and I offered just to go clean it up for you because your hands are full, what is your reaction? What do you say? Thank you? Oh, you don't have to, or whatever, right? But in this situation, they didn't want me in. They didn't want me around. Now, one of the questions that a lot of people always ask, well, if it's so good, how come it's not used? The number one question in that is, that's because it's so good. They do not want to use it because it does it in a matter of days, not a matter of years, months, anything of that nature. And by using my system, you could have corralled the oil, it still would have been usable, but not using any biodegradable chemicals, which are dispersants, which are also considered as chameleons. It makes it disappear for a minute, but it comes right back to life into the food chain. And the very food chain that they talk about right now, the fish is safe, everything is great. Let them tell it. But if you're not eating your fish from a farm, you know, just go back and look at some of the states that were involved and see how many new birth defects or how many new, not just birth defects, but respiratory problems people are having because of the things that have gone on, allergies, new diseases that are coming up because of this, that they want to label something else instead of what it is.
Well, traditionally, they're going to tell you they need a 10-year study just to give you an answer.
Well, see, all right, then go back 30 years and look at Exxon. Look at everybody else. It's still the same thing. It's never changed. You know, the beat is still the same timing, just a different tune. It's still 4/4 timing, but it's still a different tune, and it does the same thing.
Well, you know, I'm listening to you, and I'm really upset because I'm hearing things like some conspiracy theory. I mean, if you got a better mousetrap that will save the environment, save some of the negative situations that have occurred because of that, and they didn't choose to use it, was there a reason that they might have had to contaminate everything and to hurt the people? I mean, does that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense, but for reasons being, you know, they always want to put you into the conspiracy theorists, but this is not a conspiracy theory. These are facts that have actually happened. The fact number one being is there is a system that will work. The fact number two is that it was proven by the United States government and issued a certification. Now, I didn't give me this title. I'm not self-proclaimed. This was given to me by ONSET and Minerals Management. Now, what happens in this situation is, yes, you should be upset because over 40 different agencies knew of me, things of that nature. I dealt with EPA trying to make this a part of a system to where any ship coming into U.S. waters should have this on board in case of disasters like that, so they're able to contain it at the point of origin. I've spoken with places like Yemen that offered me an opportunity to come into their country and surround their oil well. Our representatives be on that but that wasn't for me because I'm U.S. born. We had the opportunity to be a part of NEMAC, which is the same as EPA, and in Bahrain. But the problem was they wanted me to build it there. They were going to give us land to build and fund it. But if I had done that, then I'm subject to the laws of the land. And if they decide to change regimes, then I get kicked out, and I can't take out what I made there. So therefore, you have to protect your goods. So I was trying to get them to fund me. Now, everywhere I go, people try to fund, but they want to get into the ownership part of funding. And that's not good for us because what we're trying to do, any major oil company comes in and backdoor funding where they want a percentage of it, then they can shut it down. And like I've had investors that come up, well, we want to do an IPO on it, and I'm saying, no, you do this, and then we lose the control. You know, you want me to do this. There's so many different factors that have happened that way. But getting back to where we really are talking about is the criminal conspiracy, the things that have happened after, not only the fact that it's a crime for what they've done, but when I sought remedy through the court system, and I'm talking about federal court system, I'm not talking state. I went through the federal court system to protest everything, and my case can be looked up easily. It's Ron Johnson versus VP of America. And I actually won the lawsuit because they defaulted. And I'm sure as astute as you are, Scott, you have to realize one thing about if a complaint is not answered, it's a default. Well, what happened in my situation? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and that's true about the law because a couple times I miss my deadline and they say, well, thank you.
Yeah. And see what BP does, what they did, which was really, really strange. Number one, I filed my complaint June 10th, 2010. June 7th, 2010. And it was an antitrust case. I followed all the procedures. Oh, I forgot to give you some other parts of my credentials. I did attend law school at Lincoln Law School, but I chose not to follow the path of being an attorney. So I do know certain parts of the law, and I try to stay abreast of what's going on. I did everything that I was supposed to do. Now, what happened was 1 week after I filed my summons and complaint, the law firm of Kirkland and Ellis, LLC, out of Chicago. Now, they're one of the largest law firms in the United States, and their client is BP. Now, and keep this in mind, Scott, what I'm telling you now, people don't go on TV, go on radio and name names if they were not true. The senior partner, his name was Andrew Langan, either him or his secretary retrieved a copy of my summons and complaint and tried to have it transferred to the Eastern District in New Orleans to the Joint Panel of Multi-District Litigation. Now, that tells you right there that you received my summons and complaint, right?
Right.
Okay. So time was lapsing on, and I'm trying to set up my, my case management company. Find out that BP never answered. My system was my filing was pro se and former property. So that meant that I needed assistance in payments and everything else. So the court granted that, and on 16th of July, it was issued to the United States Marshal's Office, who in turn did not send it out to September 27th after me making 72 calls to find out what the delay was, when the only thing that they were going to do was mail it out. They didn't do a service to BP's office or anything of that nature. So that was a situation there which was really, really, really out of play. So what I did there...
I'm listening to you because, as you said, they couldn't petition for a change of venue if they didn't know about it. So,
right,
the fact that they
exactly.
petition.
Now you got it exactly. But then they came. So I asked for a status conference because I receiving these problems from the marshal's office, and I'm also receiving problems from the marshal's office, and also problems from the clerks, because this should have been filed as a default. Now, the things that were going on in that situation, which were very, very, very important, which were very, very, very important, was that the people, the clerks, and I do mean the clerks, they were very hostile towards me. And so that's when I filed a notice of violation and request for status conference. So now this doesn't happen until November 10th. That's when my conference was. But I also wanted to let them know about the violations of the clerk's office and the marshal's office. Now, all of these things are really, really crazy. So she set the conference for instead of it being a conference, status conference, the magistrate judge, her name is Elizabeth De Laporte, she changed it to a case management. Now, in order to have a case management, all parties must agree to this and sign off on it. They would not let me sign off because the other party had not answered. And that's what prompted everything to start moving in that direction. So when that happened, it was great because it showed me where they were going. So I get to the case management meeting. Now, this is the only time I've ever stepped into a courtroom. This is the only time. And I'm thinking that I'm going to meet with the magistrate judge by myself because I requested a case management and BP was not on board. I look around and I see some attorneys sitting in the back. But I'm not understanding this because, I said to myself, well, I guess they're there for another case or something of that nature. Now, I was present, the judge was present, the magistrate judge was present, and her clerk and the other two people in the back. And she tells me she invited them to be a part of this case management, and I'm asking the question, case management, they didn't answer. And that's why I'm pursuing what I'm pursuing. So they said they did not know of this case until November 1st, which was impossible because you answered it. You gave her a letter on October 29th. So therefore they said they didn't have enough time. But go back all the way to the beginning where you asked the one question, how do you file this if you didn't know about the case? So they didn't file in the Ninth Circuit, the Ninth District. But they took it and filed in the joint panel for multi-litigation.
Wow. Sounds like you got some homework because it sounds like they're fighting you on this situation.
Well, I don't have homework because I did it. I did it as we went forward. I'm one of those students. I'm going to go do my homework before I go out and play. So everything matched up. I mean, I'm bringing it forward. And as I continue to tell you, Scott, it's going to blow you away. See, one of the things that really gets me about the case is they said they never received it. So I gave them a copy right there, and it showed where it was sent. Like I said, the marshals didn't send it out until September 27th, even though the secretary and the marshals the clerks and the marshals are in the same place. So
let me get back to something that you said earlier, if I may. The damages that were done to the environment, the industries, to the people. And I have to say to the people because I know BP has settlements set aside, and to my knowledge, they only paid the businesses.
Right.
They never took consideration about the people, the direct and indirect causes and problems that they cause for the people in the Gulf Coast, more especially Louisiana, and I'm sure it happened to all the other Gulf Coast states.
Exactly. You know, and it's still continuing. You're right. The people are the ones that are affected, and the businesses are going to be paid because of the compensation through their taxes, things of that nature, and what EPA and everybody else is set up for regulating the cost of loss of fishermen, things of that nature. But what about the destruction of the water, the chemicals that were dumped into the water that cause carcinogens, the wildlife that end up eating the fish? You know, it followed the full cycle chain, the full steps of the chain of life. And then now it's in your system, it's in everybody else's system, but you won't know that until 10 years from now, like they say, or you are seeing it, but you're not seeing it. You are seeing it, but you're not seeing it.
I was always told, follow the money. Well, if I affect your economy across the board as a state, more specifically as businesses, and following the money, it has to trickle down to the people. They were affected. They probably had loss of income. They probably had money that would have come to them that didn't come to them because the money was stopped.
Well, let's say it like this, newsflash. The people are supposed to be the government, you, myself, things of that nature, for the free people, by the people, that type of situation. But what happens is when the government sues on behalf of the people, they keep the money for the people. They take it to their friends, the other people, and we're left out. All of the Louisiana residents and people like that were truly impacted by it, you know, and you don't have to be a what do you call it? You do not have to be a fisherman. You do not have to be a restaurateur, things of the nature to say you're impacted. You ate the same fish that has been coming out of that water. You've been doing things. It's in the air. I mean, the carcinogens were in the air at one point as well. They tried to burn it off. All of these factors, at some point, it's just like if soot gets on your car from a fire, they try to say you weren't impacted. But if that messed up your paint job, you're impacted, right?
Yeah.
So, therefore, you're entitled just as well as the next person.
I'm listening to you, and I have to realize that when the tragedy happened, the price of different goods and services went up, which was a direct penalty to the people.
Yes, exactly.
I think we should maybe find out if the people are satisfied with this, if they'd like to do more about it, because I am just so tired of watching government mess over the people. And that quote is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I don't see the for part. I don't see the by part.
That's right. Well, the by part of the people that we call that have elected them into office. That's who they are. Those are the congressmen that make the rules. It's just like, and I'm going to go to an old analogy that you're familiar with because you played as well. You have commissioners and stuff in football games making new rules to improve the game, but they've never played the game, so they don't know what they're doing. You know, you have commissioners for NC2A that says, well, guys shouldn't do this or couldn't get that because they don't deserve it, but only the few that get up to the pros are allowed. But, you know, you put your whole life on the line to get to this one position to play, and you're not recorded. So these same people are just in a higher bracket where they become the elitists to where they make the decisions for us. And whether they're right or wrong, they think they're right, so therefore they go for it. Nothing's ever been voted on, things of that nature. The money trail always stops in one place. If you want to go really get technical, tell me where that $7 billion from Iraq is that they can't find. If I lose $7 billion, somebody's going to be on me about that. So these are things you got to look at.
If you lose $70 billion, they will have you.
That's right. That's right. Many times over. You're absolutely right. You know, you got Halliburton that can make a discretional error with a pen from being $6,200,000 to $62 million. No, it actually is supposed to be $600,000. It was supposed to be that. But what happens in that situation is that what they get was one thing and one thing only, a $62 million error that the government pays them, and all they say is, oh, well, just an error. Let us make an error. IRS would be on us so fast. You know, and you would be paying penalties, and you would be paying the money back. I still have not heard that they had paid the money back or anything of that nature. So these are factors that you really got to look at. And like you said, the people, for the people, which the people that are working for us, by the people, they are not doing what they're supposed to be doing for us. In this situation, in any situation, when you look at it all the way down the road, where the governments are shutting down just to prove a point. I mean, we got too many cowboys. Everybody wants to be John Wayne now. But it's their way. And in a situation like this, where I have proven fraud, I have proven falsified documents of government documents, tampering with government documents, I have proven collusion, and I have it in the form of paperwork. There are, in my case alone, even though we never went to case, there were 5 rules of laws that were changed from a district bench. And no magistrate judge has any kind of power to do that. And if it goes into effect, which they said it did, there's supposed to be precedence. I have not seen it in any law journal. Even though I've made the statement, they come back and write, there's no precedence that has been made. But that is not true. Anytime a law is changed from the rules of civil and criminal procedure, that's the new law. And so it is now referenced. So it can be used in the future. And that's what they did not do. There's so many different things they did not do. And I'm on your radio station, and I'm telling you, and I'm giving you names. Now, I've given names many times before. How do you name a person and say what they did, and they do not come back and send me a cease and desist letter or sue me for slander or sue me for defamation of character when they did all of these things? And see, we're not.
It's hard to sue somebody about the truth.
You're right. Exactly. So,
well,
this
I really appreciate you being here today. And what I want to do is, as we get ready to close, because we're running short on time now. But what I would like to do is let people know that we are willing to investigate this on behalf of the people, and in the event that we got people that did not know about this, had only heard about it, wasn't sure, we like for them to talk to their neighbors and see if their neighbors know about it. Talk to your family and friends and see if they know about it, because I believe that it's something that we need to do, something that we should do, and if the people want us to do it, I'm going to ask them to fill out a form that we're going to send out so that they can sign up for us to investigate on their behalf. At this junction, there's just too many inappropriate activities that our government and others seem to be in concert with versus the people, and it ought to be the people versus them.
Well, I agree 100%. See, the people have to understand it affects you. It affects you on the lowest level because we are the ones that have to, it's trickle down. Not only trickle down in economics, but it's trickle down effect. Everything that we do not get or we're supposed to get, we cannot get because of the damages that are done by these big companies. Governments are going in and they're suing and they're using the auspices of saying we're suing for the people. These are the damages, but the people do not receive it and you're entitled to it. And just like I'm going through this, every other Joe of America is going through it as well, and they do not understand it until you open your eyes and become a part of the solution. You'll still be a part of the problem. So like you're doing, when you say about having people see if they're willing to come out, if they become aware of what's happening to them, when you know that somebody has their hand in your pocket, that's when you speak up. So now that you know that they have their hand in your pocket and you feel the handprint and it's not yours, you need to say, get your hand out of my pocket, I'll do my own. So people, you can be compensated for the things that have gone on. Now, in my case, I have a $200 million lawsuit that has been gone on, and BP has been able to try to maneuver out of it, but it's not over because, you know, it was fraud, collusion, and there was never a case. If Paladin is able to come in and on behalf of the people, and the people know that they're there, they should sign up because they can be compensated. Yes, class actions do work. And if everybody's saying it, then there's something that has to be looked at. And you should, if you were 5 minutes delayed, you should be able to, was out there. Now, you can't get what the government has already gotten because they're not going to let you have that. But you can sue again because of all the lies that were told, and the government has accepted them now. But that's a wide open evidence because it's discovery. And the government did their homework, so therefore the discovery is right there. So therefore, as the people, the state of Louisiana people, things of that nature that were impacted by this, come back at them with a class action lawsuit. Make them feel the pain that they're supposed to feel. You know, when I grew up, one quick analogy, when we grew up, you know, you could get spankings all the way down the block if you did something wrong until you got home to get the major one. The major one should come from the people, not from the government. It should come from the people and it should go back to the people because they're the ones that are being hurt. The government is the infrastructure. We are the people. We don't get anything. So if you sue on the behalf of the people and they sign up and they understand, well, like that commercial, J.G. Wentworth, it's my money, I want it now. That's what you're using. You hurt me, I want you to pay me.
I like that. It's our money and we want it now.
That's right. Because you're not getting any of that the BP settled with the government for. You're not getting the penny. You're not even getting it in the tax credit.
Yes, well, listen, Mr. John Johnson, I really appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule to communicate with us here today. And we're going to move forward, and we're going to have an opportunity for people to sign up and let us know if they themselves are dissatisfied with what they did not know about. Because we, the people, need to speak up. We need to organize. We need to come together and change all the wrongs and turn them into rights. And we got rights on the books that's not being protected. We got rights that are unalienable, that we no longer seem to have mattered to some of the elected officials. And we need to change that. We need to get people back to where they're compassionate and loving. And that's one of the greatest things about this country. People have always loved and looked out for each other. In some kind of way, we got some officials that got elected that just really don't care.
Well,
we need to change.
The bottom line, you got to keep in mind one thing when you say being compassionate. That being compassionate is what's got us here. Now we have to go back to the old ways of the revolution and say, okay, this is what needs to happen. Be the voice you're supposed to be. One vote, one voice. Be the voice, whether it's one vote, one voice, or whether it's one lawsuit, 500 million people voting, applying to that lawsuit, it makes a difference because it'll be heard. And that's what the country was built on, being able to be heard as a free democracy. And you can't take that. You can't take that. You can change it any way you want, but that's what's going to make the difference. All of those that are in position can be put out of position if they do not jump on board, because they can be voted out just like anyone else. And those that have become like junior senators and junior congressmen, things of that nature, to jump on board with the right idea for that time being until they learn the system, we got to take that part away from them, learning that system and learning the system that was built for this country.
Well, my brother, I appreciate you. This is Scott Lewis, a Paladin for the People, on behalf of Louisiana News and eMedia GC, signing off.